Wizard's system of handling bans is like somebody trying to patch a hole in a boat that's already sunk to the bottom of the lake. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. I am here today to be the bearer of bad news. The ban has come down. I did a previous video where I said we were most likely getting a ban. I speculated on the cards that were going to get banned, and it turns out it was indeed an emergency banning we were facing. Now, this isn't a fun video. So if you want to have a good time, over on my lore channel, we released a banger new lore video. It's a fantastic story, nothing but good times. So if you want to go and check that out, it can be your little sanctuary away from all the awfulness. Now, let us talk about the only card that got banned today, because they only banned one card, Uro. All right, Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Now, this is a powerful card. Surprise, surprise, a card getting banned is a powerful card, right? I mean, you get a lot for your 4 mana with Uro. He is a insane accelerator. So let's dive into the announcement that Wizards of the Coast has made, and I just want to kind of break it down and share my thoughts and overall disappointment and talk about Wizards' new philosophy that I think locks us into a never-ending cycle of this sort of thing. Hold on, I just have to, some of the article wasn't showing. All right, so it says, we've been keeping a close eye on the emerging Zendikar Rising standard format over its first week of availability on Magic the Gathering Arena and Magic Online. Of course, they don't want to mention paper Magic here, because think about it for a second. When did Zendikar release in paper Magic? Friday. Yeah, 3 days ago. 3 days ago, the set officially released. This is an emergency ban. Emergency bans are never good, especially when they feel insufficient. So the article continues. With millions of games having already been played on digital platforms, early data and results from events this past week have shown that multicolor ramp decks featuring Uro, Lotus Cobra, and Omnath, Locus of Creation, are a problem in the new post-rotation metagame. You don't say. Ramp is causing a problem in Standard? Well, that's a new problem. That's not something we've been dealing with for forever now, right? Definitely a new thing. It's good that they're paying. We keep a close eye on this. It's great. They're doing a really, really good job. I'm impressed with them. So it says, while Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath was a powerful and contentious card in the pre-rotation standard environment, we wanted to allow the metagame to adapt to the last set of standard changes and the imminent rotation before making a decision on whether to let it remain a part of the environment going forward. Look, guys, we know that Uro is like a really strong card, okay? But we want to see what happens when there are fewer cards in the card pool, right? Sure, it's a really strong card, but it's not like it's going to be feeling even stronger when there are fewer cards to draw on, right? People aren't going to gravitate more and more to the most powerful cards when we reduce the amount of cards that are available, right? And a rotation isn't like a bunch of sets just left the environment. It's the language that they use. You know what, let's not let me get too sidetracked here, because it's like, let me get through the article, and then I will continue to air my grievances. All right. So, that nonsense statement about wanting to see, but it's basically like we crossed our fingers, please, 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 let something fix this so we don't have to do this. It's so frustrating to deal with a company that is incredibly hesitant to do anything to clean up the messes that they make. Okay, so, in order to weaken these post-rotation ramp strategies, I love this. These post-rotation ramp strategies. You gotta understand, guys. Ramp strategies has involved Uro. This is a post-rotation problem. Uro was never a problem before now, right? I mean, we banned Growth Spiral, which is like a weaker version of Uro. But it's not like Uro needed to be banned, guys, because money. You know what, again, back to the article. I am just going to rant otherwise, because it's so frustrating. Okay, so anyways, they said they wanted to make a decision on whether to let it remain part of the environment going forwards. This weekend's event underscored that 4-color Omnath decks are dominating early play. And even the decks built to try and beat those decks utilize the powerful Titan. Oh, wow. Uro's so strong that he's in the most dominant deck. And he's in the decks that are fighting against the deck. It's almost like he's an overpowered, insane card. It's almost like they would have known this all along. I mean, they designed these formats out like a year in advance, guys. You know what I mean? They designed these cards like a year ago. They have every ability to know this. There's literally no excuse for it. There's no excuse. So, in order to weaken these post-rotation ramp strategies, post-rotation, I love the language choice. This marketing stuff. Anyways, we're choosing to ban Uro Titans of Nature's Wrath in Standard. Our goal is to bring these decks down to a level where they're still appealing and competitive, but where natural metagame forces are enough to keep them in check. Have natural metagame forces been enough to keep anything in check in the last number of years? Really? Like Wizards' new design philosophy, since they've embraced it, has there ever been anything resembling balance? The answer is no. All right? In general, we prefer this approach to overshooting the mark and removing an archetype from viability. Translation, we prefer to never remove cards that are worth money. That's it. It's not about breaking archetypes. It's about we don't want to remove cards from Standard that are worth money. We will happily ban pieces of jank around the money, but we will not ban the money. If I genuinely believed that they didn't want to overshoot the mark and stop making things viable and create a balanced environment, then I would believe this wording. But it's very difficult to believe anything other than this is purely greed motivated. So I'm giving up on waiting till the end. I'm going to continue to do this and go off at the end. So it basically says, in general, we prefer this approach to overshooting the mark and removing an archetype from viability. However, we've certainly noted this weekend strong results for the 4-color Omnath deck, and we'll continue to watch how that strategy and the overall metagame adjust in the coming weeks. In other words, we will be having a discussion in the future about how Omnath needs a ban. That's what this is. 4-color Omnath seems to be really strong. We didn't know that if you made a card that basically turned into a free card in every way, oh look, you played the card and you draw a card. Okay, so it replaces itself there. Oh look, play your second land. You got the mana used to cast him back. Oh, so he's free in every respect? Oh, no, actually he's better than free because he'll keep generating more mana. Do you like advantage, good sir? Because we have it for you in giant buckets. Its name is Omnath, who most likely will require a banhammer. And they will do the same thing they did here. They will tell us X number of months down the road, Omnath has been a part of some strategies that have been, we kept our eye on it. We'll talk about what they keep their eye on. I will give you my theory on all this after I finally make it through this, which is taking me longer because I'm genuinely frustrated. This is so annoying. So it says, it's unusual for us to make a change this early into the season, but in this case, we're targeting a card that has shown signs of being problematic in the past. Signs! It's so amazing how they can just go, well, you know what, normally we don't do these bans that fast, but it turns out that our own can be a problem, and he was a little bit of a problem in the past. He's a huge problem. This is an emergency ban. Wizards is so afraid of using the term emergency ban that they didn't even let us know originally we were getting a ban in the announcement. To find out a ban was coming, you had to see the announcement, backtrack, and go look at an older, updated MTGO article. That was the only way to find out that it was a ban we were facing, okay? So this is really frustrating to me, honestly. I'm trying not to just turn into ranty boss monster here, but good God. Okay. So, it's unusual for us to make a change this early into the season, but in this case, we're targeting a card that's shown signs of being problematic in the past, and which continued to display its dominance during events this past weekend. And to such a degree, surprise, surprise. Additionally, the speed at which high-level digital play attacks new formats. Yeah, I'm sure it's a problem for you guys. You actually have to put in more effort to make balanced formats, but you refuse to do it. So it's a real problem for you. All these people play online, and they see how stuff works, and they build the best decks with the best cards, you guys, and we're held responsible for building a format that works, and we limit it to the last 2 years so we can balance it and whatever, when it's really just planned obsolescence so we can sell you the stuff, have it tank, and keep selling you new stuff. But we don't even want to balance standard anymore. It's not fair. We go online and everybody plays with the cards and they see that they're broken and we gotta ban them and then we keep ripping people off selling our overpriced garbage. It's not fair, guys. Like that's what this is to me. You're taking the new formats. You mean enjoying your new formats? Due to the voracious nature of people enjoying our game and actively playing it and wanting to use the cards that are the best, get out of here. Get out of here. You can't blame the players, particularly when digital play is the only high-level play available. High-level Magic play. Woo! That's gonna draw them in. Anyways. Whew. All right, take it down. Relax. Relax. Okay. So, particularly when digital play is the only high-level play available, means that metagames advance past the early stages far faster than they used to. We prefer to make this change now so that players can continue to get the most enjoyment out of post-rotation standard. I love how they have to keep saying that, which is one of the most exciting times in Magic to explore and innovate. Think about that for a second. Think about the difference between saying, people solve these too fast, and we literally had to step in 3 days after the set's been released to step on this. Because the most innovative and exciting times in Magic is when a new set has just come out and rotated a bunch of sets out. This is literally, to them, one of the most exciting moments. And they're not wrong in terms of like widening up. Hey, everything's new and you can try whatever. 3 days in. 3 days into the most innovative and enjoyable exploration part of the new format, and it's already ruined. Look at that. And you know whose fault that is? It's not the players. Trying to blame the players it's absurd. Anyways, finally, I'd like to emphasize that for this ban and restricted change, our focus was primarily on standard and historic with an eye for the upcoming 2020 season grand finals. Changes to other formats, if needed, will be included in future updates. We looked at historic and we said, damn, Muxus, whatever else, who cares? You know what? It's not as awful as standard is, so I guess we'll just continue to let it go. You don't like standard? Want to flee from standard into a format that might be a little less awful? Well, let's make sure historic is also a tire fire for you. Blaming the players for your inability to balance cards when you have, like, they literally don't test cards anymore. On top of that, they actively allow problem cards to persist if they are valuable cards. If it is a mythic card, and if it is from the new set, the chances of it getting banned drop to like 0. Do you know how long Wizards dragged their feet on banning Oko, even though he was a massive, massive problem? If you think about all the cards that Wizards has banned over the last like year and a half or whatever, and you think about the fact that they, in their minds, it was fine to put all that in standard, it shows that balancing a format isn't on Wizards' radar at all. It's all knee-jerk, reactionary sort of scenarios. And I'm going to be real. I honestly believe that their new ban philosophy is essentially run by economists and accountants. And by that, I mean, there's basically like, we can't ban cards out of the format, unless there's a certain amount of money in the format still. So if you want to get rid of something like Uro or Oko, you got to wait until something new comes into the format that's worth enough money. Like, okay, we've got a couple sets out from Theros now, so you can finally give Uro the boot. Even though he's been a problem for a long time, he was the big ticket mythic in the game. And so, like, we've reached this crazy scenario where Wizards of the Coast doesn't really print playable commons and uncommons mostly. You can get a few for red, so they can go, there's an affordable deck in the game, go play mono red, that kind of thing, right? But overall, commons and uncommons are garbage. They don't make good cards there. Rares and mythics are the only place that you're really going to find playable cards. And a lot of decks need the mythics because they're insanely powerful. So they make these insanely powerful mythics. They are the most scarce cards to acquire, and thus they have these insanely high price tags. So I think Wizards just does an analysis and goes, you know what? We don't think we're going to lose as much money by letting people be upset about this as we are by banning the cards. If we ban the cards, you ban Uro, who's going to buy Theros? What matters in Theros anymore? What's worth anything in Theros anymore, right? Like, That just obliterated the value of the Theros set, because Theros is dull. They don't want to do that sort of thing, so they wait until the last possible moment. They wouldn't have banned Uro at all if they didn't know that a hellfire of Omnath decks was about to completely destroy Standard. There are results already, and I think it was like some Star City Open or something like that. I can't remember the exact event, but literally, like, almost every single deck was Omnath. Almost every single deck was Omnath. That's they're just making crazier and crazier cards and paying attention to the economy as opposed to the meta and the environment. Standard essentially feels like they've changed their philosophy into, we're going to print broken garbage and ban it after we've sold enough of it. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I don't see an end to this. I don't think we're at, what was the wording? Well, natural metagame forces keeping things in check. I don't think we'll ever have that scenario again. In fact, I really don't think Wizards wants that. I don't. I think they want what they have. And I genuinely believe that they are glad handling us with their language and that this pattern will never cease. And so as a result, Standard is not a format that you should be involving yourself with. Let's be real. Honestly, don't waste your time. Like, if you want to play it, fine. But don't be somebody who rushes out and buys out, oh, I need 4 of this and 4 of this. Like, there's people, when I talked about Uro catching a ban like a few days ago when I did my my video going, here are the possible ban candidates. And I even said the chances of them banning a card from Zendikar, even though it's a problem. And I listed Omnath, I listed Lotus Cobra, and I said the chances of them banning them are pretty much 0, right? Because they don't want to ban stuff from a new set. They want you to buy it. You having fun with the cards isn't important as long as they get the money. And they only care about banning cards going forwards, not for your fun, because they want the money. It is 1000% about the money. And as a result, Standard is always going to be a wasteland. So putting money into Standard is going to be the fastest way for your money to evaporate. If you want to play Standard, play it on Arena, because at least on Arena, if something like this happens and they take your Euros away, then you end up with wildcards. In Paper Magic, they just go like this. That's what you get. You get nothing. You get nothing. No, man, you got whatever. Who cares? We're going to keep making broken cards. We're going to keep banning them. And who cares? You bought them in paper. You bought the most expensive versions of things. You bought physical boosters. No, we're not giving you anything. You don't deserve anything. Now, for the longest time, I personally never believed that Wizards needed to have anything to give people when it comes to paper cards. You want to do wild cards on Arena? Great, makes sense. You don't want to do anything in paper? Okay, I understand that. There traditionally has never been given anything for paper bans. But that was also when it felt like Wizards cared about balancing the game. We would have the overpowered Mirrodin block, and they went, oh my god, Mirrodin block was really overpowered. It's driving people away from the game and creating really stale metas where there's only the best deck and the deck that can fight against it, right? The days of Ravager Affinity were a nightmare, and people left the game in droves. And so Wizards went, hey, you know what? We'll make Kamigawa next. And Kamigawa was intentionally a very weak set designed to overall power things down. And from that point on, they had a power balancing system that they used. Now it appears they have been instructed by upper management, the only thing they're allowed to do is press the throttle on making insanely powerful cards. So I don't blame the people designing the cards very much for most of this. I'm going to be real. I think that they are being forced to make insanely push the gas cards, and then they're not being powered down or balanced in play. The intention is not to have a balanced environment at all. It's to have big flashy cards that reach out into other formats. I mean, look at Omnath. Omnath screams Commander, right? So they're trying to make cards for other formats so the Standard sets can sell to everything. And while before Magic venerated Standard, it got a lot of special treatment in terms of let's make sure this is good and everything's balanced, it's all going to work properly. Now, Standard is an afterthought. It's let's try and sell this stuff to every format that exists. If Standard players buy it, great, whatever, cool. And if the Standard format falls apart, whatever, which keeps on changing, we'll just say, hey, we'll hope the rotation will fix it. Hey, we hope this new set will fix it, knowing full well it won't. They know what cards are coming. They could have tested it. They didn't bother. When they say they were hoping things get fixed, they never give examples. They never go, oh, you know what? We thought maybe the metagame would be corrected by card X or card Y, because they don't have those examples. because they never thought that in the first place. They essentially just come out and feed us what to me is just a bunch of lies. And that's incredibly frustrating. So for me, this ban is just where it really hits home that this is Magic now. It's not going to change. This is their design philosophy come to full fruition, right? We talked about, like, we first heard about Fire back around Throne of Eldraine. We don't know exactly when they started using Fire, but we heard it from Throne of Eldraine. That was a year ago. And we've seen a year of nothing but, oh my God, we need more bans. Oh my God, even with the bans, the environments are awful. There has not been a truly enjoyable standard environment in the past year, bare minimum. And that's me being generous and not even going back further. I'm really frustrated with it. I'm really frustrated with the decisions they're making there overall. There's actually something else that's even more troublesome that I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to get this ban talk out of the way. I haven't even had breakfast yet, okay? There's so much going on, and I was just so annoyed that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this first. So, my friends, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. That's all great for the channel if you like what I'm doing here. If you love what I'm doing, join my Patreon, or you know what? Get yourself an owner of fine luxury cardboard rectangle shirt, because I'll tell you this right now, these will never be banned, all right? This will always be legal. All right. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I will see you all possibly even later today with another video.